What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Line of the Stars. I'm Jordan, and we're back today with another episode of the Enterprise D from Fanhome. And it has been a little while, as I do, as these models do take time to build. I wait for parts, and then I got to do the tedious work like doing the resin windows, and I put it off, and I'm busy, and I'm going to give you all the excuses as to why it's been a couple weeks since we've done an episode of that. And really, it's because of all of the above. Now, that being said, however, I have done my prep work and everything is ready to go so that we can actually build this model. And I think that the work done in advance is going to be well worth the wait. Now, two things to note. One, we are getting the last parts of the nacelles. So after this point, I can complete the first part. Well, I can basically complete the first nacelle with the full nacelle mod. Now, with that, we'll be talking about a couple things in the coming episodes. We're going to do the next two stages, which will complete pack number 16 for the Enterprise. And once we complete pack number 16, the next two stages, so 61 and 62, once we get those completed, we will go ahead and do the nacelle mod. And we're going to be talking a little bit about what we're going to be doing with the model going forward, as I have made another decision about kind of the build. And I am going to make it a little bit more complicated for myself because, hey, why not? Here we are. So, the other thing to note is that I really do enjoy doing the resin windows on these bigger panels. They are much easier to do. I'm just flat out just going to say it, much easier. I had a much better time going ahead and getting these done. And I'm really glad that basically that I'm done with the smaller windows. They're just tedious. This was really nice. Now, also as well, I've chosen to take a little bit of a liberty with this model, so to say. And because a couple things that I do know about the ship, and some of the in canon, out of canon, and I'm dealing with this model just being as thanks Ben Robinson. But that being said, I'm taking a little bit of liberty, so we're going to talk a little bit about that in stage 59, and this should be a fairly quick episode, I say. As the first stage is going to go fairly quick, but then stage number 60 is a little bit more detailed. So, let's go ahead and get building, shall we? Stage 59 coming up, and the first of my little mods that I've done in between episodes. All right, so stage number 60 is right here. Now, obviously, I've gone ahead and done some opening already, and let's go ahead and get out our hull panel, and this is one of our die-cast hull panels there. There we are. Very nice. Let's go ahead and pop it out. And what's cool is we're going to go ahead and install our phaser strip now, and along with our transporter emitters. And this hull panel is drop dead center, right in the very center on the ship. Now, a lot of people don't know, but this is actually the deflector array for the saucer section. Sometimes the deflector arrays on Starfleet ships are big and blue and ornate or different colored. You see a lot of different versions of them, but you can also just have a deflector array that also is just internal to the ship. And in this case, it didn't need to be super complicated or crazy. So this deflector array itself is also very simple. And now, obviously, in the design of this model, they assumed that those were windows and went ahead and gave us windows on sprues that looked like it, and that looked like windows. Two of them were clear, two of them were darkened. They didn't know because Ben Robinson is a Jordan, stop picking on him, but he's a supposed expert on Star Trek and the ship, and not knowing that it's a deflector array, should have just made them all black because that's what it looked like on the forfeit shooting model. But where I've decided to take some liberties with this build specifically is I wanted to actually kind of create a bit of deflector array look. Now, what I've done is I went ahead and sprayed them down with flat black, the XF1, and then from there, I took my AK markers. I have the other one sitting off to the side over there, and we'll grab it and put it in place. But I took my real my real color marker. My this is actually the metallic markers, AK markers. Um, and I grabbed the copper, and I went ahead and went around the edge of each one of them to kind of give that coppered effect that you would see on the deflector array on most Starfleet ships. Because when they're not activated, they're not glowing blue, and the blue glowing is not like it's glowing. It's actually from the energy being emanated from there. So I wanted to kind of create that effect, and I think it turned out pretty good. So we have those, and now that I'm done, I'm not going to say it, but after I'm done, blowing my own horn here, let's go ahead and dump everything else out here onto the table. And is that everything? That is beautiful. For our nacelle, we have the lower part, which basically this sits underneath the nacelle. So we're going to go ahead and set that off to the side, along with one of our formation lights, which is actually supposed to be clear because this is a nav light. So big difference is nav lights are blinking and clear, and the formation lights are solid and red or green. And this is not. This is on the nacelle and at the very end of the ship, and that should be a nav light. And we're going to go ahead in the nacelle mod. We're going to go ahead and cover how we're going to take this paint off. So I'm going to set that off to the side. And we have our bracket here. So we're going to go ahead and set that in our little cup. We're not going to be using it, but I will show you where you would be. Let's go ahead and get out our photo etch for our for the transporter emitters. Excuse me. Just streamed for a couple of hours. And now I record. All right. Fantastic. We have a reflector, which we're not really going to need. We'll talk about that here in a second. And then we have our phaser strip. And then we have our two sets of screws. We have some CP screws. And I believe should be some AM screws. So let's go ahead and get our CPs and our AM screws. Excellent. Oh, and just throwing them around. There we go. All right. So first things first, we're going to be going, and as usual with this model and most models, we're going to be following along with, well, not most models, but with this Partwork model, we're going to be following along with myenterprise.com. And let's go ahead and start with our the first step here, which is going to be going ahead and installing our deflector array pieces. So let's go ahead and flip this bad boy over here. And we're just going to go ahead and slot these in place. And let's go ahead and get these off of the sprue, which is always fun to say when you're doing this model, actually working with a sprue and what have you. And I just got my single-bladed nippers. And get those off. And finish getting them in place. Don't need to worry about cleaning them up. As they sit in there pretty nicely. I'm already kind of test fit them already. I say. I actually haven't set windows down in this model for a long, long time. All right, excellent. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and grab this reflector, and we're going to slot this right over the top, just like so. And then we are going to go ahead and put this in place with 2 AM screws. And as a reminder, anytime you are going into metal with a screw in this model, go ahead and use your 3-in-1 oil. And that's going to be our last AM screw for this stage. We'll see if we use any in the next stage. And that's secured down in place. Tighten up the other side. I like to work back and forth. And that one fell out there. Just want to make sure I keep my screws together there. Excellent. And I gotta say, one of them I kind of smudged up a little bit, and it may be a little bit too obvious. I might take my marker and just kind of go over the top of that, but that does look pretty cool. Let me know what you guys think. Is that a cool effect? I think so. All right. Now, we're going to go ahead and grab our phaser array, and we're going to slot that in place, just like so. Then, let's go ahead and flip it over, and then we're going to go ahead and grab 2 of our CP screws. The first one put in place just like so. Let's see if I can screw this in place with the other one attached to it, and I sure can. That was kind of cool. There we go. Excellent. And we're going to have to be attaching the phaser strips as we go along. There's not going to be basically any opportunity to attach them later. So there's that now put in place. Now, if I remember from my instructions, we're going to go ahead and get our photo etch, and that would be our transporter emitters put in place. And there is a little bit of a gate on either end. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my razor file and take care of that gate. So you can see where they separated it from the photo etch sprue. There's a bit of a gate there at the very end. So I'm just going to take that down using my glass file, and I'm going to do that for both pieces of photo etch. Excellent. Now make sure they're sitting flat. Take off the 3M sticker off the back. Horrible at taking out stickers. Horrible at taking off sticker backs, by the way. Big stupid fingers. Let's bend that back into place. Then that's what that one looks like. Make sure it's in there properly. All right. Same thing here. This one seems to be doing good. That was one. The first one was just bent horribly when it came out of the package. All right. And there are our transporter emitters installed. And I got to say, that whole thing looks pretty cool. Yeah, I like that effect. That was a cool idea. Not to toot my own horn, but I'm going to toot my own horn. Don't mind if I do. All right. So now, in this coming up part, it would have us basically trying to put in the LED for this, and we are not going to be using the LED there because we are not going to be lighting these windows. Now, that LED is going to be repurposed, and we're going to be putting that onto where the Arboretum was when I didn't have enough light there before, and that's going to be the LED that we put in place way back in stage number 1 and just recently in the bridge mod video. So I believe, with that being that, in addition to the parts that we're not going to be putting in place at the end of stage 59, which would normally see us basically closing up the nacelle for basically the last time, I think that is the end of stage 59. Let's move on to stage 60 and get into the meat of this episode, which I think is going to take us just a little bit. All right, so here's stage 60. Let's go ahead and get our package opened. And very carefully just kind of run along the side there. And let's get everything out very carefully. Don't go dumping too crazy. All right, don't go hibbity-bibbity. All right, so here is our window section that has been resin, and basically I use my tape and then the real color flat white to diffuse my windows. And I chose not to do any colored section here. That is kind of not important. But yeah, it turned out really good. Really pleased with that. We have our reflector that goes behind. We have a screw for the battery cover for the nacelle, and we will talk about that in the nacelle mod. We're going to go ahead and set that off to the side. We have our windows that it's been a minute since I've said this. We don't have to use, and these are the much larger variety windows. And we have some BP and FM screws. So let's go ahead and get these off to the side. As they give us a bunch extra CPU. So there we go. Perfect. And there we go. Off to the side. Perfect. Let's go ahead and get our BPs open. That bracket we're also not going to use. Like I said, we will talk about that when we install here in just a moment. These panels, when we put them together, we're not going to be installing that LED. And I will show you where that would have gone if that we had chose to do that. And then we have our new FM screws. Excellent. Couple of LEDs. And let's go ahead and put away the sharp thing because, my friends, we get to bring back the saucer, which makes me super happy. All right. So let me grab. This thing is getting difficult to try to find a spot to grab it from. Here is the saucer. Let's go ahead and flip it over just to kind of give it an admiring gaze. Oh, man. I gotta say, this thing is pretty damn cool when it's all set. Like, when it's all built like this, man, it is so cool. I don't care what anybody says about this model. I love building this model. It is fantastic. This is such a great model to build. It is a pain, but it is worth every bit of that pain because once you see it, oh, my friends, this is a beautiful ship. You can't go wrong with the Enterprise. Okay. So now, in this, I need to grab some clear tape, as we're going to be doing a little bit of installing of LEDs. So let's get a couple pieces of clear tape here ready to go. I wish I had a dispenser, but I don't. So that's all I got to say about that. So I'm going to get some tape started here. Grab a couple pieces. And there we go. Got the tape started. Beautiful. And what I use this tape for specifically is I use it to secure the LEDs into place, as they don't like to stay inside the reflector in the most sensible way. Like it sometimes will hold, and with the resin windows and all that, it can work better, but still, it's one of those things where it's just like, yeah, I'm going to use a little bit of this magic tape, as it does work really, really well. Okay, so what we need to do is kind of slide the saucer off to the side here real quick. Then what we're going to do, and guys, I don't know how long the night shift thing has been sitting out at the top of the screen there. I apologize. You press things on the keyboard that's sitting off to the side, and you never know what happens. Okay. So first things first, we're going to go ahead and we could probably zoom in, maybe a click or two here. Let's go ahead and go 2 clicks, I guess. That works. What we're going to do is we are going to take our reflector. We're going to set it down over the top, just like this. Okay? Now, we are going to grab our LED and into PCB1, and which is going to be this forward one, the very first one that we installed. We are going to install this cable into this slot marked A on the PCB1. So make sure I got my polarity correct. And somehow with my big stupid fingers, I'm going to grab my tweezers here. very carefully get these plugged into place. There we go. Then what we're going to do is we're going to split this LED. So coming under, we need to split it all the way across. And then what we're going to do is we're going to grab one length of it, and it's going to come through this way. Is it? I see. So we're going to route it down this way. Then through here. And down. And around just like that. And this one is going to follow it. I probably should have split them a little later, but that's fine. We're going to follow the same path. Pass it through the same channel. And then this one is going to pass under this one as well. And up and over this way. So coming through, up and over. Let's go ahead and zoom out so you guys can actually see. So coming out, over, under here, one splits out this way, and then this one comes out through there. Excellent. Now, what we're going to do, forgot to, it also helps when you put 2 BP screws in. My goodness, Jordan. It's been a while since you built this model. We're going to take 2 BP screws, put them up top. Once again, with the BP screws, you don't want to tighten them down too hard, as you can strip them out. There we go, just till it's tight enough. Then what we're going to do is we are going to take this LED and slot it into place by slightly pulling back on the panel, getting the LED up and over its tab, which is not always the easiest thing in the world to do, but eventually it will get there. There we go. Then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. That one went much easier. Cool, cool. And then we're going to go ahead and secure this in place with 2 more BP screws. So, I don't have to hold that like a goon. There we go. There we go. And on the other side. Excellent. So that's what that looks like, basically put in place. All right. Now we're going to grab the single LED and we're going to put it in the board right here. Let's go ahead and zoom in. There's going to be one open spot right here. We're going to go ahead and plug that in. So I'm going to grab my tweezers. And very carefully get that plugged in. And then this one is going to get slotted across this way. I'll grab my tweezers again. And it's going to go all the way across and up and out of this panel. Now, what I'm seeing is I'm going up and over these wires here. So I'm going to go ahead and get this under because I don't want to have my wires pushing down and crimping on top of each other. So I'm going to go and route these through some other wires here so I'm not creating a problem for later on. Excellent. Then that one, we're going to go ahead and hook into place right here. And then this is where that magic tape is going to come into play. So I'm going to grab a piece of magic tape or clear tape, whatever you want to call it. And I might cut this down in a smaller piece. just to hold the LED in place. I did this a bunch early on in the build. Then it kind of stopped being necessary, but we're going to go ahead and bring that back into play here. Excellent. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and grab this assembly from the previous stage. And this is going to slot over the top, just like so. And you want to make sure that the ridge right along there clips into place. So what you're going to do is you're going to slot it down and in, and you'll feel it clip in and slot into place. Excellent. Okay, so now that we've test fit that, what we're going to do, unslot that, and we're going to go ahead and bend our LEDs slightly in, just like so. Then we're going to go ahead. There are 4 posts, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab, that's very interesting how they do this. I'm going to grab a couple of our FM screws here real quick, just to loosely hold this in place. So I'm going to put one right here, and don't forget your oil. Just to kind of hold it there. And I'm going to go on the opposite side right there. Now I'm going to take that LED that's kind of pushed up and got itself out of the tape. There we go. Make sure all my wires are up out of the way. You don't try to rush anything here. Excellent. Okay. Now, we're going to go ahead and slot this down into its spot, as we showed before. There we go. And then I'm going to go ahead and lock that in place with an FM screw in that corner. Then I'm going to come through the rest of my FM screws. Get them slotted into place. Excellent. Up into here. And then we're going to go ahead and cinch everything down. Kind of, I don't know if it really matters if we're going to do a star pattern or not. But we're doing it. We're doing it anyway. All right. Make sure everything's all cinched down. This one seems to be a little bit of a strip screw, perhaps. It's fine. It's in place. There we go. Nothing's pinched. There we go. All right. Did I get all that done? That is correct. Well, there it is. The first panels are being installed on the bottom of the hull, and I gotta say, guys, that is super cool. I am really excited that it's here. Like, it turned out really, really good. And I have to say, the saucer, the deflector dish thing, actually looks really good. You guys, I love it. This is fantastic. And this thing easily weighs a good 2-3 pounds, maybe 4 pounds, 5 pounds. I don't know, somewhere in that neighborhood. It's a hefty boy now, and it is only going to get bigger as we go along. So there it is. stages 59 and 60. And oh, by the way, we have completed half of this model. We are at the 50% mark of this build. Another milestone, benchmark, whatever we want to call them. Here we are, my friends. I'm super excited about it because uh, this, for as amazing as it is, I am looking forward to the finish line on this bad boy because I really can't wait to see how this all turns out. So, there we are, my friends. 50% done. The build marches on. So, that's what I got for you today, and I just want to say thank you. I knew that there was a million things y'all could have done today. Instead, you spent a couple minutes with me watching me build a model, and I think that's pretty damn cool. If you guys have any questions or comments, tips, tricks, please leave them down below. Like to support the channel, please like and subscribe. And my friends, until we see each other again, I hope you all have a wonderful day in this beautiful world wherever you happen to be. And just remember, my friends, so always live long and prosper.